Okay, you got some sales. What's next? How do you fulfill these orders? Well, first off, if a store is doing as good as this one day in, I would actually probably run it for about a month or so. And if it continues doing really well, I would then maybe go on Alibaba, order the product in bulk, which when you do that, you can talk to the supplier and even get custom packaging on it with your logo, brand name, and everything. And I would either ship this bulk order to your warehouse or your home and start shipping the orders out from there, or ship the bulk order to a fulfillment center that will fulfill these orders for a fee. By doing this, I could have fast shipping, nice packaging, all for the same price or usually even less than it would cost to fulfill the orders through AliExpress. But it is much more work since now you're managing inventory, potentially leasing office space, and maybe even hiring people. But that's more kind of end game and a more advanced strategy. It's one I just want to put out there so you can have it on the back of your mind if you really want to turn your dropshipping business into a full-on brand with exit potential. However, in the meantime, we will fulfill through AliExpress. This is how I started out and have even ran stores doing hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in revenue just fulfilling the orders through AliExpress. Because sometimes if the product doesn't have evergreen potential, it may not be worth it to go through the whole private label process and to order in bulk to the US. Some products you'll run profitably for a month or two, make some money, and then for one reason or another, they can dry up. So in that scenario, you'll be happy you stuck to fulfilling through AliExpress. And I would really only start thinking about private labeling once you've already made some decent money with dropshipping and can afford to take that risk. Like I wouldn't go into debt just to private label. So how do you fulfill through AliExpress? Well, first off, let me run you through just the concept, what you're doing, and then I'll talk about automating that process. So here we are on our orders page on Shopify. Let's click on one of them. Out of respect for this customer's privacy, I'm gonna have to blur most of the info, but you can see what this person ordered, and on the right, we can see their address. So to fulfill this order, I would go on AliExpress, get the same product that the customer ordered, head to checkout. I would then copy their information from Shopify to the shipping portion on AliExpress. Then check out and complete the order. And then about a day or two later, once the AliExpress seller ships out the product, I would take the tracking number that they give me and would go back to enter it on Shopify, at which point you can mark the order as fulfilled. Once you do that, the customer would receive an automatic email with the order number and you're all done for this order. So to do that hundreds of times per day would not be a good time, and then to manually retrieve all the tracking numbers to send to your customers when the orders ship out just wouldn't really be feasible. What I personally use to automate this whole process is a Shopify app made by AliExpress called De-essers. In the past, people would hire virtual assistants to manually fulfill orders for them, which in my opinion, that's just extra moving parts and an unnecessary risk. You can fulfill hundreds of orders per day through De-essers in literally like 10-15 minutes, and you'll know it's being done right and that you won't get screwed over. So here's how to use the actual app. So to use De-essers, you first want to install it on your website. To do that, head to the apps tab on the left of Shopify and then to the full app store. Here you'll search De-essers and download this particular app. You then have to go through the install process, hit agree, authorize all the permissions and whatnot. Then you'll have to choose your plan. Here you can look through and choose whichever one you need for your particular case. The free version will work most of the time, and then if you find that it doesn't and you need something from an upgraded version, you can upgrade to whatever fits your needs. So then it will, for the most part, walk you through everything, but here you'll need to link De-essers to an existing AliExpress account. Once you do that, you can now go to the actual app. Check on open orders on the left here. If you install the app after you already have some orders like I did here, it will usually take a few minutes to sync everything and for the orders to show up. But if you still don't see them pop up after a while, you can manually go to the settings, then synchronization, and then manually sync the orders. Then give it 5-10 minutes and they should all show up. At which point you can go to my products. Here you should see the products listed on your store. I just have the one microcurrent device on my store, so I'll go under it and click this mapping button. Now, because I had variants of the product, I went to the advanced section, pasted a link for each variant, and selected which one on my Shopify store needs to connect to which variant on AliExpress. Once you do all of that, you can go to settings and choose a preferred preferred shipping method, just look through what your AliExpress listing offers and choose what you want to go with here. And the other thing is, once you've been running your store for a bit and you notice that France or Canada or Germany gets a lot of orders, instead of just having one global shipping option that covers everything, you can go in here and specify that when you get an order from France, you want this kind of shipping. When you get an order from the US, a different kind, and then the global one will cover everything else. And you can also control this manually one by one in your open order list. And the reason you may want to look into this is because your AliExpress seller might offer really cheap and really quick shipping by a particular method to one of the countries I just mentioned. So for particular countries, the shipping option you have set for everything would not be the best option. Anyways, let's now go to your open orders. They now should have synced up and should all be here. To place this whole page and all these orders at once, you can press this top box, which will select all of them. But for now, I'll go through the process of one to make it easier to understand and follow. So I'll just press order on this one, hit confirm, and now you can see that it moved over to the awaiting payment tab. And when I go to the AliExpress account I linked to DSers, this order will now be here waiting for payment. The address is already filled out, ready to go, but I just still have to press pay now and actually pay for it. Now to pay for multiple orders at once, you would go to this unpaid section here on AliExpress and you can select the orders you want to pay for. So you can automatically place a full page of orders on DSers and then pay for that page of orders on AliExpress with one payment. Once you do that, the orders go from awaiting payment to awaiting shipment on DSers, and then once it ships out, it will head to awaiting fulfillment, and upon delivery, it will go to the fulfilled section. So make sure if you're using DSers, you don't go in and manually press fulfill on Shopify on any of the orders. Now let's talk taxes and legal business filings. You most definitely have to pay taxes when you're dropshipping, you are running an online retail business. Now the issue here is that you may be watching this from a different country where everything is completely different. If you're watching this from a different state, things can be completely different. Some things can even vary based on the city and county level. That, combined with the fact that I am not a CPA or a legal tax advisor, I can't really give any advice on this, but I can try to point you in the right direction and also talk about my personal experience. I didn't go out and open a legal business until I was actually getting sales and bringing in good money with this. I started out by just registering to Shopify using my name, and that's that. Now, eventually, if you keep making money and scaling, Shopify may require you to submit some legal paperwork about your business, at which point you may have to open an LLC or corp, whatever makes more sense for your situation. When things started blowing up for me, I had to look around and find a tax advisor who did a lot of the filing to open a business for me. However, I think you can open an LLC online on your own. But once you start bringing in money with dropshipping, I would recommend you start Googling to find a CPA or a legal tax advisor in your area that has really high reviews. Maybe even call their office and ask if they have experience with e-commerce, with any sort of online business, and just try to find a good, trustworthy professional who can walk you through everything and who knows and is confident on what they're talking about. Please really take your time on this. Choosing the wrong person can lead to a lot of headache, so make sure you do your due diligence. But again, that's something I would worry about once you start getting a good amount of sales. Now, once you find a good CPA, I would also talk to them about sales tax, not just income tax, and see what advice they can give you on that. And just overall have them run you through everything. Talk to them about potential tax saving strategies and ask any other questions you may have. I would maybe even consult with multiple professionals before you decide to choose one you're going to go with. Speaking from personal experience, the last thing you want to do is add another level of stress to your business by choosing the wrong person to help you with taxes and filing things. Unrelated quick story here, might not apply to many people, but when I started dropshipping, I was not 18. So when things started blowing up and Shopify was asking for documents, eventually it came to light that I was not 18 when I submitted like my ID or something. And that led to me not being able to use my account. So I had many calls with Shopify and eventually had to make an account for my mom and give admin access to that account, which all of that caused a lot of unnecessary headaches. So do make sure you provide legitimate information from the get-go. But that's about all I can say when it comes to taxes and the legal side of your business. It just varies so much from county to county, state to state, country to country that I can't really give any specific advice. All I can recommend is that you find a good professional to help you out with this part of the process. Now, when you're dealing with selling things online through your own website, you're going to have to deal with customer emails. In the beginning, you can manage that all on your own, nothing to worry about. You don't want to build out a customer support team before you have customers to support. However, once you get to a point where you're pushing enough product to where your customer support is taking up a significant amount of time that could be much better spent managing and growing the more important aspects of your business, or it's just taking up your mental energy that can be better allocated. At that point, you're definitely going to want to hire some virtual assistants to do the customer support for you, and I recommend doing so through a freelance website called Upwork. Just type in customer support on the search bar and sort it by the people who have completed the most amount of jobs and have a perfect rating. Contact those people, set up a few video chat interviews, see what kind of experience they have. Oftentimes, you're going to want to hire someone overseas, so kind of gauge their level of English. I've had good experience with people from the Philippines. If you decide they're a good fit, bring them on, explain how you want them to do everything. You can even come up with a list of replies for all of the frequently asked questions that you've been getting and just guide them through what you want them to do. It might sound intimidating to hire people, but it's no biggie. They're freelancers, so you can hire someone to just work like a couple hours per day for you. And cost-wise, because they are overseas where the cost of living is much less, people are very happy to work for $6, $7 an hour. And it's really cool because you can build a good relationship with your VAs, have them do other work for you, promote them, give bonuses here and there when things are good, and just build a good environment where everyone is happy. And this part of the process can honestly be pretty fulfilling. No pun intended that they're fulfilling orders. One more important thing that we have to address when it comes to customer support is chargebacks. If you're not familiar with what a chargeback is, basically if someone pays with a usually credit card, I think you can do chargebacks on debit cards as well, but it usually happens with credit cards. If you pay for something and you don't end up getting the service that you paid for, you can call your credit card company and file a chargeback so you get your money back. Now, you as the business owner, as the person running the Shopify store, are not only on the line to refund the person who opens the chargebacks, but there's also a fee that comes with it. So you're losing money on these chargebacks. Now, on top of that, the bigger issue here is if more than 2% of the people who order from you open a chargeback, that's when these payment processing companies are going to start having some red flags and usually ban you from using their payment processing. It usually won't be a ban right out of the gate. You normally will get some warnings. If things continue going bad, you'll then be escalated to having this reserve thing where Shopify or whatever payment processing service you use will hold on to about 10, 20, 30% of all the money that comes through in a sort of reserve to pay out any future chargebacks. And if this chargeback problem persists and you continually are getting over 2% of your orders charged back, that's when all these payment processors will usually ban you from using them. Which for me, after years and millions of dollars worth of sales online, I've had that happen once with one payment processor. And you usually can solve this by switching over to a different payment processor, but it's a huge headache and it's an unnecessary issue. And the point that I'm trying to bring up here is that if you have a good customer support, that's really going to do a huge role in decreasing the amount of chargebacks you get. So not only is having customer support the right thing to do for your customers and just to provide a better experience for them, but it's also really going to benefit you and prevent a lot of potential problems. And that about wraps up my whole course. The main goal of this program was to help connect all of the dropshipping dots in your head so that you can understand what makes a successful dropshipping store in the current climate, and so that you can take advantage of this new wave of TikTok dropshipping and just e-commerce as a whole, since a lot of these things apply to all levels and all kinds of e-commerce. These are things and strategies that work. It's what I do for my stores, but if you go through the program, launch a store, and you don't succeed from the first go, I would strongly urge you to please not give up after your first failure and to just keep testing new things, new products, new designs, new ads, and you can eventually get it. I didn't succeed with my first dropshipping store, and even today, some products I launch and I'm not able to profitably scale them through the roof. Patience and persistence is everything. I wish you guys the best with your dropshipping journey, and once you do pop off, make sure you DM me on Instagram at Biaheza and send me those sweet Shopify screenshots with the sales on them. Can't wait to start receiving those from you guys. Talk to you then. Peace.